Hey, all right. We're back. Jack of all trades. Jack, we got the results from week 3 are in from the NFL. Before we get into our week 4 analysis, we have some updates on the power rankings, if you will. I know you're not a power guy, but uh, they have value in your model, so they are relevant. But so, what are some of the adjustments you're making on your end?
Sorry here. Well, that's the thing is like we've talked about this before. It's still very early in the season, and for me, when I break down some of these different models and combine them, they're gonna like say the base of what your team is gonna be more reliant upon this season, and it's gonna kind of ossify to where it's gonna be harder to have these big moves, even though I don't see a lot of big moves from week to week, and still, and so, you know, what I just quickly, it's I use these Jeff Sagarin ratings, DVOA from Football Outsiders, 538 from Nate Silver, and I kind of combine those, and then I'll do something with kind of a net points thing of my own, and I'm still waiting to do that because it's still with only 3 opponents, and you factor out your game from your opponents. You're just going off of like a strength of schedule of 2 games, and I like to wait till after week 6 to start integrating that, and I just put it in as a little bit. But like the numbers I came up with here, so this is last week here, and then the new ones for this week. And I could probably label those better week 3, week 4. But as you see here, I did a little ranking change for each team. So this is the left column. Can you see that? Do I need to blow this up at all?
If you could make it a little bigger, that'd probably help.
All right, let's make it big. All right, so we'll start here. This is the top half of the NFL somehow. And the ranking change is on the right here. So you can see Baltimore took a 2-step back. Saints went down 3 steps. Funnily enough, Green Bay went back 2 steps. But I guess, what the models did was they docked the Saints, more than they boosted Green Bay. And, some of this you can just kind of, and then the Vikings went down 1, Bears went up 1. A lot of this makes sense to me. Like Pittsburgh dropped 3. Well, they were playing, they squeaked by a bad team, so, okay. And some of it's just kind of water finding its level, and maybe some of these teams dropping are about Indianapolis making a big move up. And quite frankly, if Indianapolis can keep just playing good, they're going to go even higher up because they're actually ranked number 1 in like the current NFL Football Outsiders team efficiency. If I go just this year, it's Indianapolis, Pittsburgh, San Francisco somehow. So to me, a big surprise and maybe something I'm not convinced is going to last is San Francisco. They went out and they beat up on a horrible Giants team, who you can see is the worst team in the NFL. Uh, and so, and not because I don't like San Francisco or thought they had a good team. It's just that they didn't. They've lost so many people, so many injuries. So for San Francisco, it's like, what's it going to look like when they play good teams? We'll see. Beating up on bad teams isn't impressive. Another reason Chicago still hasn't. They're 3-0, and they're still like behind the Vikings. It's crazy. But when you look at it, you're like, okay, Bears. You beat the Giants barely. You beat a miracle win against Detroit and a miracle win against Atlanta. Miracles. They were 97%. So to me, that historically does not bode well for the future. When you're coming back from 90, when you get 99%ed with 4 minutes to go, you're not going to win usually. So the fact that the Bears pulled that off, now caveat is, there's a chance that Foles is better than Trubisky, and so the Bears will actually improve this 19 number, but then they're going to have to go play hard teams. So we'll see. Like a lot of it's just week 3. I'm still in the absolute like we'll see. Like yes, we had Kansas City as the top ranked team preseason in Vegas. So they're Super Bowl champions, kept everybody basically, kept their coaching staff intact. So I'm pretty confident in having them. They're a wide number 1, and I got no problem with that. These other teams are interesting in that Seattle has a horrible defense, but they got the best quarterback in football, in my opinion, even better than Mahomes. And so that's interesting. Can you hold a number? Can you keep moving up ahead? Can you be a top 5 team if your defense is bad? We'll go to defensive rank, but again, this is like, not a lot of teams, but Seattle's down here. Some good teams, surprising teams have low defenses. Buffalo, Green Bay is 28th. And so you wonder which way is it going to go on that. You think Buffalo will be better on defense as this all shakes out. And I think a lot of this with the short off season, but I don't know. Do you see any teams that you like that you think?
Well, what's interesting to me is, like you say, on a short preseason with it certainly seems to take its toll in the injury. Seeing a lot more injuries, and quite frankly, defenses. The defenses I'm watching, I don't know. They're just giving up way too many yards, and it's totally different. But to answer your question, Buffalo was interesting. Well, like we spoke about, so it was. There's a difference. There's differences in 3-0 teams and 0-3 teams. Blah blah blah. Right. So Buffalo. I'm looking at them. They're unchanged on here, and I'm trying to think how is their defense looking over there on the other side.
The defense is shockingly bad. They're 24th in the league. I mean, part of the problem, what I would caution people on getting on the Buffalo train is, they gave up a huge amount to the Rams, and we're kind of getting favorable on the Rams now. They're ranked 7th on my thing here now, and pretty impressive. But they pull out a miracle win on a pass interference call to beat the Rams. Okay, so that's pretty shaky. And then their previous games were like Miami and the Jets, and these are bad. These are bottom, 6 teams, and Jets look like maybe the worst team with the Giants and maybe Washington now, especially with Chase Young being hurt and having such a bad quarterback. So yeah, like I could poke holes in most teams if it's not, Kansas City. It's like I still like Baltimore more. Probably it's like, okay, you ran into a bust, so I can't say. Let's see if Baltimore gets back to the Lamar Jackson just being unstoppable. Seattle, though, is such a porous defense. Seattle with the 23rd defense, and the fact that they've been bad on defense for a long time. But Pete Carroll's a good coach, and Seattle usually finds a way. So I'd say I'm pretty high on Seattle. New Orleans, I think, is a sinking stone. They're 6, but so much of their 6 rating is based on what we thought they were from last year. So if New Orleans doesn't right the ship, they will easily keep falling. Tennessee's won some close games. I think the Vikings outplayed them on Sunday and had basically 4 turnovers to Tennessee's 1 turnover, and then Tennessee wins by a point. Okay, not a lot to lean on there. And then Green Bay's defense is really bad. 28th in the league, and but their offense is really looking good, and we'll see. I'd like to see Green Bay. So the teams they've played defensively. I guess New Orleans is 12th, Minnesota 19, Detroit 27. So defenses in general are way down. Offensive production is way up. I could see that leveling off in the COVID. I think one reason for it is I saw recently that they're not calling holding. Like the holding penalties are like way down, way inordinately down. So I don't know if it's if that's a directive from the league and that's going to continue. I don't know if so if that continues, it's going to be hard for defenses to make any headway on this deal. I think that's something to watch, whether they start calling holding. But I would look for like these classically good defenses to kind of gain some footing again. So if I look at, you know, it's hard for Minnesota. They have, you know, Minnesota's missing effectively 6 starters, so they got to get healthy. And, you know, maybe they're 19th, but I look at a team like Minnesota at 19th, and I could easily see, you know, Mike Zimmer gets a couple players back and shapes that up into a decent defense. Buffalo, same thing. Good coach, defensive coach. We're supposed to be good. You know, they're probably getting racked pretty hard for that, all that they gave up to the Rams. They put a couple good defense under the belt. The Patriots, I don't know about them. It'll be interesting to see, A, how the holding penalties go, and B, can some of these teams you thought might be better get some traction in the post-COVID where we have, you know, more games, you know, that's what these coaches can make corrections off of, like game tape. They can't really correct practice tape very well. They're not tackling, and they're, you know, quarterbacks are wearing red jerseys. So that they try their best, but I think you'll see a lot of shakeup. Like I talked about before, like as these numbers tend to ossify with more data, like we talked about before, like week 3, right? So now week 4, you're going to get 33% more data for this year. You know, you got 3 games. You're going to add a whole game to 3. You know, so a third. You know, 1 is a third, and then next week you're only going to add 25%, and then you're going to add 20%, and it's going to diminish each week. So once, you know, one game is just like a less than 10% of your overall thing, that's just a, you know, it's data. It's a sample size. You grow that sample, the more reliable the model is.
Absolutely. In a wild season as is 2020, very volatile. We could see a lot of shakeup. We're gonna do some more NFL analysis. Nice work, Jack Newman, at Jack Viking over there on Twitter if you want to reach out to him there, or you can click the like, comment, and subscribe below to get notified on our next show. What we're gonna do is we're gonna tell you exactly some reasons why you should not give up yet, even if your team's 0-3. So next episode, tune in and we'll show you some numbers that can help you stay optimistic. The season's not over. There's only 3 weeks in. We'll get on track. So thanks for tuning in, and be sure to tune in next time on Jack of All Trades.